everyone. Let me start off by saying thank you for allowing me to speak at this wonderful event in hopes of guiding you student graduates as you open a new chapter in your book of life. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nettnin. I am a husband of 37 years to my wife Sonia, my beautiful wife Sonia. Together we have 3 children, my son Eric, daughters Amanda and Christina. We have been blessed with 5 wonderful grandchildren, McKenna, Daniel, Deanna, Amelia, and Charlie. Will you guys all stand up, please, so you can show these wonderful students who you are? So I'll stand up, please. She's the brains of the operation. You know how your dads and grandmas and grandpas say, show me how to use your phone or computer, right? We resort to you guys. I didn't have a computer when I went to school. I used a typewriter. And let me tell you, as a guy, I typed a lot of words per minute, so it was a little different. Like many of you, we were the perfect family. By a show of hands, can you students raise your hand if you know someone that overdosed? Okay? That's how prevalent this problem is. I want to say to all of you, this is my first time to speak to a group. I speak to 45 employees at work, but speaking about this subject is different. My goal is to help you through challenging decisions that can affect you and your family as you enter this new world of independence. Yes. This is my son, Eric. Cute kid, huh? He was funny, kind, respectful young man that worked at our family business and loved helping people. He also loved his mom and his sisters. He enjoyed going to church, and he prayed to God every day. Literally in the morning, would get down on his knee and pray to God every morning. He loved fishing, boxing, golfing, basketball, canoeing, and water skiing. And his passion was the Green Bay Packers. It was around the beginning of high school that Eric started smoking pot, partying with his friends. However, around graduation time, Eric started to mess with Percocets and Oxycontin. He and his friends did this for fun. His friend Tom had a grandmother who was given Oxycontin by her doctor for severe back pain, and that's how it first started. Off the record, do you guys know what Oxycontin is? It's heroin. It's legitimately heroin. He and his friends did this for fun, to get a high. His friend Tom, I said, had the grandmother. The Oxycontin was given to her by her doctor, and that's when it all started. Eric and 4 other friends all indulged in this. Eventually, they started snorting the pills by crushing them to get a quicker high. This is the start of what changed my family's lives forever. Eric's first overdose was so scary for my wife and daughters. Luckily, the paramedics gave him the Narcan, and he survived. This, however, caused severe trauma to his mom. She was his rock, and both of his sisters. This still carries in Sonia's mind today and every day. We We had Eric in rehab. He attended 12-step programs. He would be clean for 6 to 8 months. However, the trigger to get high was so strong that praying to God and having assistance from various programs just wasn't strong enough. His second overdose was unfortunately on his mom's birthday. Bear with me here. I called him and he never answered. So I went by his house to have him come to dinner with us. And when I went into the house on that warm September day, I saw him lying on the floor sweating as his stove was still on. And he was lying on his arm for 12 to 14 hours. I called 911, and again, luckily he survived, but nearly lost his arm due to compartment syndrome. The doctors performed emergency surgery on his arm to save it. Our family was thinking, since he almost lost his arm, why would he continue to use drugs? He loved to box, and he was so upset about the recovery time from his arm and hand surgery. So we went to another rehab in Louisiana, and when we visited him, he was in great spirits. He was clean, he was thinking right, he was clear-headed. It gave us hope. When he came home, he water skied, boxed, went to the gym every other day. And as I look at you, wonderful students, he was cut. He had six-pack abs, and he was a handsome kid, so he had a lot of lady friends. Our family's hopes were good. Biggie was his dog. I still take care of Biggie. And Eric loved his dog. So he tried moving to Florida to escape the cold and the streets of Rochester. He thought changing his environment would help. He had a great job, but in my mind, I knew he would come back. He didn't have his mom, his rock, his sisters, me, and his good friends to be with there. Sure enough, he was back within 2 months. Eric struggled with depression and anxiety. And when the depression and anxiety were so strong, he would resort to Oxycontin as his regular pharmaceutical drugs or medication was not working. It was this time that oxys were hard to get, and the alternative was heroin. Months later, he overdosed again. This was by far the worst one. Narcan didn't work. He had all these tubes in him and machines to keep him alive. They actually had to put him on induced coma. And all we could do was pray. Let me tell all of you, seeing a loved one in a hospital like this is traumatic. And it's traumatic for everyone. Your friends, your family, everyone you know. And of course it's going to be on Facebook real quick, or Messenger or Instagram. Did you hear about so-and-so? Let's pray. I hope you students never have to deal with this in your lifetime, as you will remember this speech. He did recover, thanks to God, but it was many weeks later. You know, it's funny, my brother was a pothead all through school, and I was the jock. I always said it takes a man not to do drugs through high school and college. And I stuck to that. I wish I had expressed more of that to my son. That's one of my regrets. I played on the soccer field here. I played on the baseball field and on the basketball court. As I said, it takes a man not to do drugs, and I stayed away from it. You know, when a loved one goes through what my family had gone through for 13 years, there are things we fear. The phone call in the morning from my daughter, Amanda, who found Eric in bed, and he was dead. This was on Valentine's Day, 2020. He was 31 years old. Can you imagine the trauma my daughter went through? Would you want your sister or brother, or would you want to find them? You will live with that the rest of your life. When I spoke to the medical examiner, who was a friend of mine, because our company was providing the body bags to the city of Rochester, he said to me, Eric never had a chance, Ron. Just a small amount of fentanyl in the cocaine or heroin was what did it. He also told me it's in marijuana now too. Let that sink in. What else are they going to put it in? Your drinks? You have to be careful. At Eric's funeral, just before COVID, that was at the time when I think you guys were all freshmen, if I'm correct. We had over 600 people at his wake. I can honestly say I don't remember much of who was there because it was so traumatic. That February morning, I lost my only son, my longest employee, but mostly my best friend. Here we are, 4 years and 3 months later. My wife and I are depressed. Some days we're good, and some days just blah. We have built a multi-million-dollar business, but I have this huge hole in my heart, and so does my wife and daughters. You know, we think of if we only did this or only did that, but the bottom line is, you cannot touch, taste, ingest, or drink an illicit drug. As she said earlier, the dealers don't care. They don't care. They don't even know if you died. If you don't know what's in it, leave it alone. So, only you can make that decision. Don't let friends peer pressure you. Be the stronger person. Eric hung with him and 4 other friends. So of the 5 boys that were together, 3 are dead. They're all good kids. All good kids. Students, my only reason for speaking with you tonight is to save someone from trying an illicit drug. Just one time. And Bob Zerby, the medical examiner, told me stories about a 15 or 16-year-old that he had to examine their body, And she tried one pill. One pill. That's all it took. Dead. It may come in a pill form, powder, or drink. I want to spare your mom, your dad, your brother, your sisters, your aunts, uncles, your best friends from living the rest of their lives in trauma. Eric always said to me, he said to his mom, "Mom, the first time was a choice. A choice. But then it controlled my life." Sad, isn't it? Wish we knew that back then. My son Eric always said, "Dad, it can start with marijuana, then to cocaine, then to heroin or crack, and it can affect anyone." He said, "Dad, there's an attorney in this group tonight. I can't point him out. There's a lawyer in this group. There's a nurse in the group. There's a physician in the group. It affects everyone." I know you're all going on a journey. Maybe as a teacher, an accountant, a physician, an attorney, or in the medical field. Or maybe you'll be a professional athlete like the basketball player who graduated here at Kearney. What's his name anyways? Does anybody know that? I'm sorry? Thomas Fryer. Thank you for that. These drugs, to this day, affect anyone. They do not discriminate. My family has started a foundation called the E-Rock Foundation, and we built this to help those with addiction problems. In closing, I would love for all of you to look at the person next to you and say to them, "I promise not to use illicit drugs, but God does love you." Please do that. Just do that for me. Do it for Eric. Do it for Eric, please. I would love to answer any questions that you guys might have. And if you want to speak to me personally, I will be available afterwards. And I want to wish you the best of your life. I look at you guys, I have 45 employees at work. You guys all want jobs right away because we could open up a couple more stores and I can hire every one of you. That would be awesome. I own Westside Medical and Eastside Medical Supply. I love that. What's the pay rate? We can figure something out. Are you willing to work 60 hours a week? Listen, I will say this. I graduated from Charlotte High School. All right. I went to MCC. I got a 2-year degree. I wanted to get out and I wanted to get into sales. I ended up in medical sales. I worked for a couple companies and I used to live in an office at Strong Memorial where I handled all the diving accidents, the motorcycle accidents, gunshot wounds, car accidents. I didn't see overdoses back then. It was too new. But I built this family-owned business, and I'm so happy. But as I said, I may have a good amount of cash in the bank, but I'm not happy many days because of Eric. So let that sink in. Money doesn't buy happiness. All right? I want you, when you go on your journey, you guys might be working with each other. You might refer to each other. You need to stay friends. It's all about grouping and connections. And I want you to enjoy your party tonight. Have fun, but do it the right way and always make the right choice. All right? Thank you so much. I appreciate you.